Okay, folks, just pulling out right now. I am running a little bit late, but I did have that late night, last night where I went in for a few hours, so I'm hoping that kind of gets me a little bit of leeway. But like I said, I'm getting on the road, so I got like the defogger going, the defogger, defroster going, so I might have to speak up a little bit so anybody who's, tuning in can hear me. But anyways, just another update vlog. It's day 141 of Nofap, and rolling into another week, and hopefully I can get some more problems done today. Maybe even finish up the assignment. I'm just trying to keep focused on my priorities and these goals I have, so as soon as I can take care of that sort of stuff and get that done, I'll keep up the momentum. So other than that, there's like an in-class activity which I kind of did work on a bit before, because it was originally assigned and supposed to be due like I think last week, but then the professor moved it up to this week because we were we had some other stuff due, and he was trying to be like a little more understanding, not trying to overload us with too many things. So anyways, so other than the usual work, I'm just trying to take care of that stuff. What else? I don't know. I got my day sort of planned out, my week sort of planned out. Luckily, because I went in yesterday or last night, I sort of got a snapshot of like what's ahead for the workload that we're assigned, and I think there's like one little thing I could have gotten sort of set aside, but it's just like maybe like 13, 14 of these bags that we pack things into, but that's something I can just grab when I'm in setup right now, when I'm in there. And the stuff it's for is for tomorrow, so I mean I'm still relatively ahead. I also offered to stay another a little bit later today or tomorrow to get stuff set up for Friday. There's a couple bumps on the road, but yeah, because I just wasn't able to get everything set up for the entire week, but I got everything set up for through Thursday. So I'm gonna try to stay, maybe a few extra hours, get stuff set up for Friday, and then we'll be ready for the rest of the week. But it is something that I kind of figured out that I can do outside of regular work hours, and for what I've been told, it does not require somebody else to be there to verify me and sign me off and that sort of thing. So they're luckily, or hopefully shouldn't be any issue because of that. I'm just gonna turn off the air. Okay, cool. So you guys can see, folks can hear me better. But anyways, like I said, something I can do outside of work, add a few hours here or there to my paycheck, but also just get some stuff done that it's usually like the sort of the before you can actually build the kit or whatever, sort of stuff that it ends up oftentimes taking 3, 4, 5 hours just for some of these builds, and that's like almost like half the work day. So if I can get stuff set up outside of that when the actual work day is there and the build's supposed to be going on, they can just kind of get that going without having to sort of sit there and set up the boxes. So I did that. There are like a couple of loose ends from last week, but I'll see how I how or when I go about tying those up. Some of them may have to wait till the next serve round with regards to, let's say, pipe pack calibrations or so, but we'll see. But I'll see if I get any questions on that sort of stuff, or they give me any guff. But anyways, just gonna try and get through the day, and get my classwork, or my homework done. Because it's all about working on getting myself to that next level. And obviously, like when it comes to finances, which is such a big concern of mine, making that extra money so I can pay off my debts faster. That's there's an aspect of that, and there's sort of a positive feedback loop there when I put in some extra hours to get that money and pay those bills off, and then I can kind of I can envision a life after debt, which for me is such a big thing. It's like life experiences, or maybe it's my angle on things because of a whole plethora of factors, but it's my mindset, wanting to get to the point where I can just be like, okay, I'm going to throw this money into these stocks, or get actual physical gold or silver, or buy cryptos or so, wanting to be positioned so that whatever is the next big thing, I kind of like, I want to sort of kick myself at times about, let's say, Bitcoin, or other cryptos, because it's sort of like, I was aware of them back in, let's say, 2010, 2011. And by the way, I apologize for the whole congestion with my nose. I think I just some dust or so. I think if it was anything, more serious, I'd probably be feeling that. But it's like I knew about those things back when they were first coming out. Back when it was like, I think maybe a few hundred for a single Bitcoin before it like really took off. And at the same time, like I literally didn't have any money. Like I was stuck in college. I was I wasn't there financially, and it's something that I want to kick myself over, because you look at how much stuff is worth nowadays, and what if this and what if that. But something that I think I've referenced in other videos, but it's sort of like a lesson learned at this point, because luckily those things aren't worth like $1 million or $2 million right now, so it's kind of still within the realm of possibility for me if I can get myself out of debt. But it's sort of that lesson learned of, okay, you need to take care of these things so you can position yourself, and sort of be ready, waiting in the wings, so you can kind of jump on those opportunities. Because if you're buried on a mountain of debt, you really can't do that sort of stuff. And again, it's not just opportunities for myself, it's the opportunity to also have the ability to do things for, like I said, just not myself, not just myself, but those I care about. Because if I were to do the math and take, like, let's say the money I make right now, and assuming obviously that nothing bad happened, like I didn't lose my income or so, and let's say this was, instead of being nowadays, back in 2011, and I didn't have any debt, and I could throw most of my income at cryptos or gold or silver, or stocks, like, I kind of don't want to imagine the kind of money I would have and what I could do with it, because it came down to, like, getting myself a house, or land, or whatever, or helping my dad out with the mortgage or so, or paying that off. Like, I could probably do that without even lifting a finger. It'd just be like, snap my finger and sell a handful of Bitcoin, and or some gold or silver, or some stocks, or maybe I'd have dividend income, or I'd sell a bit of land or something, and I'd be able to sort of snap my fingers, and bam, there goes the mortgage, and okay, they don't have to stress about that, you know. So, you know, financially, so much of that is that's what it's about. I definitely want some nice things for myself. I want to get myself positioned in such a manner that I can pursue other things, and I don't have to sort of stress about money, and I don't have to basically put myself in or stay in situations that I don't want to stay in. And I mean, that could also expand into sort of, you know, health issues that I might have or actually do have. Being able to get, you know, the sort of treatment or you know, coverage or whatever that I need to get, you know, on or with regards to those, you know, those issues. I can focus on that. I don't have to be like, oh, but can I go or can I afford this? You know, I gotta pay for this or pay for that. I don't have to sort of weigh those, you know, options against each other in a situation where, hey, I don't have any debt and I have, you know, an emergency fund and I have passive income and all that kind of stuff. And then of course there's the more like almost like dreamy or mystical or fluffy sort of stuff, you know, where it's like, okay, I'd rather like take, you know, a week or two off and go and, you know, work on some passion project, you know, like I could go and almost like it'd be almost like what someone like Bill Gates does, where he goes and takes 2 weeks off to go into some almost like a retreat. Yeah, sort of like I don't know if it's a cabin or if it's just like a house somewhere, but I'd have to probably read up on it again. There's an article where he talks about this sort of stuff where he goes off for like 2 weeks and he just like, it's almost like a reading retreat. He just basically reads a bunch of books and kind of brainstorms as to where he wants to go next. Whether it's, and you know, this is outside the discussion of, you know, this is outside the discussion of whether you like the guy, hate the guy, feel indifferent about him, but that sort of practice of being able to go and, or that practice of going out, you know, for 2 weeks, taking a bunch of books, just reading them, you know, cover to cover, and brainstorming as to where, you know, he wants to go next, whether it's in terms of philanthropy or new business ventures, or just what he wants to do as a private citizen, just as some guy at his age wanting to go and do X, Y, Z, you know, like being able to do that as opposed to always being sort of like, you know, like a hand-to-mouth existence and stressing out about this and that. And like I said, you know, it's also not just about myself, but if I could, it was like, you know, sort of like lifting your nose away from the grindstone and being able to think about what good you can do for others as well, and beyond my family, but also like, you know, even just other people who are less fortunate, or, and I know it's kind of nebulous, but you know, I live in the area where I live in, there's a lot of homeless people. I'm guilty even being able to, you know, focus in on some of that, or maybe helping friends out or relatives, or, you know, being able to do that kind of stuff without obviously like undermining myself or you know, putting myself in a bad position. Because I mean, the way I'd be making decisions, or at least trying to, it's sort of this, you know, the mental point of origin thing, like, and I would have to be careful with, you know, some folks in particular, because you know, some people, it's kind of like a drowning man scenario, or a drowning woman or drowning person scenario, where you have to be careful when you help them, because it's almost like, you know, the difference between jumping into the water with them and getting pulled under versus throwing out some sort of life preserver with a rope, and then, you know, they grab onto that and you pull them in. You have to be kind of careful, because, you know, they think that you've got money, they think that you've got resources, they can, you know, wrangle out of your hands, or, you know, guilt trip you into handing over, or needs, or they think they can sort of offload onto you, whether it's debt or it's, you know, just basic financial needs of, like, you know, survival or whatever. Like, you they'll take what they can get, and they'll leave you, bone dry, so to speak. So, while I do want to be able to help others, you got to be careful. If, for instance, I'll use an example that's from outside of my life. I think Fitzgerald Brown he's made the right decision as far as I can tell. It seems like he's cut ties with that person. If he wants to talk about it in further detail, in one of his videos, he can go do that, or if he doesn't want to, fine. But because it's his channel and all that in his life. But one thing I kind of observed in that, series of the videos where he was talking about that was, he being the good guy that he is, he wanted to help somebody out, and it seemed like that person was taking advantage of him and bringing a lot of, grief into his life, and he did, cut ties. I did try, sort of drop some hints that, hey, you don't want to be, doing that sort of stuff, helping, or letting, not even about helping, but letting someone like that into your life when it's clear that, they don't want to be helped, they don't want to change, they're just looking for sort of a raft or a human flotation device to basically give them things like lodging and food and some attention and somebody to blame, and there can be all sorts of legal ramifications in certain scenarios where maybe there's a gender difference or something of that nature where if things get out of hand, especially if the person's like an alcoholic or a druggie or so, the way things work, they don't really care that the other person was the alcoholic or the druggie, or that you were under no legal obligation to be taking care of them, or they punched you first or whatever. You can have all sorts of bad consequences. Well, not just consequences, not even, because consequences typically are bad when we talk about them, but not just bad consequences or consequences in general, but just I probably shouldn't use the word just, but it's sort of life-altering, let's put it that way, life-altering consequences. Like a charge of assault and or battery, or jail time, or heck, you could get injured in some sort of fight, or maybe they call the cops on you and things go sideways real quick because the cops are trained to respond in a certain way, and you're seen as a threat or whatever. You can kind of picture it in your head. You can kind of sort of imagine it in your mind, okay, this is what possibly could happen, and the list of potential consequences or effects make it such that when it comes to choosing whether or not to help a person, you have to sort of keep that stuff in mind. But again, for me, that's not entirely a consideration per se, except in the case of certain people, but more as a general consideration, some that I would have to deal with if and when the day should come that I'd be in a position to help. Some people I've had to tell no already because like I said, they'll just sort of try and see as much as they can get from me, and they won't even see it like that. If I were to bring that up to them, they look at me like, oh, I'm just this jerk, and how can I look at them like that, and things of that nature. But that's really how it works. Other folks I'm willing to help right now as much as I can because they won't demand of me. I'll make it clear, I'm not under no legal obligations to take care of this, that, and the other, but I'm willing to help in these ways. I'll send as much as I can, et cetera, but I'll determine that based off of, the numbers I'm looking at, so to speak. So, there's considerations I have, but, again, sort of go back to that concept of mental point of origin, I'm only able to do this if I'm taking care of myself first, and I'm making sure that, okay, I'm getting to work, and, I'm getting work done. I'm minimizing the number of mistakes I make, and making sure that if I do make any mistakes, they're not like job ending, career ending, employment ending, kinds of mistakes. And I'm managing my finances, and I'm paying off my debts, and I'm stashing some, money in a bank account, a savings account, all that kind of stuff. Like, I gotta take care of that first, because my ability to do anything, first of all for myself, but second of all for anybody else, is all predicated on me being in a position to be able to do that. Like I can't talk about helping out, let's say, my family with the finances if I don't have, a source of income, or if, my debts aren't paid or whatever, So, anyways, yeah, I think I'm gonna have to start switching over. Yeah. Wonderful to get in. Get in. Okay. And then one more lane after this. Okay. So it's just one more exit. The one after this one is the one I'll have to take. But pretty decent time. I mean, I'm still probably going to be like a minute or two late, but I was thinking I was going to be way later than that, but apparently I was able to weave my way through traffic and keep going at a decent speed. So, nothing's perfect, and I'm probably going to have to here are some things from the boss lady at work, but like I said, I'm just trying to get to where I want to get as fast as I can, and if I gotta put up with some stuff along the way, then I guess that's what I'll have to do. But obviously trying to minimize that as much as I can, because that's just not fun. So. I guess if I get some time, I might sit down and map out the rest of the week. I mean, I coulda, woulda, shoulda done that yesterday, but things just kind of worked out the way they did. But I don't know what else. I'm just working on what I'm working on, and it's something that's gonna take time. It's kind of like with so many things you look at from the outside, like you think like this person is super successful or super wealthy or so, that it just happened overnight, and it's because you didn't hear about them those 10 years beforehand or 15 or 20 years beforehand where they were kind of like a nobody, and then that those 10 years or 15 years or 20 years of of work finally paid off, and let's say their YouTube channel blew up, or their company just landed a major deal, and they started churning out all these units, or they completed their research into thus and such subject, and they got recognized with some sort of award like Nobel Prize or so. And now you're hearing about them, but you didn't hear about them 10, 15, 20 years earlier when they were just, so-and-so. So I gotta sort of keep that in mind when it comes to, all this stuff. Because, it's kind of a slog, and kind of frustrating and disheartening at times. But it is what it is, and I'll sort of try and knock things down one day at a time. See how I can get there. So looking forward to getting paid this Friday, and see what damage I can do to the debts that I have. And I'm hoping to do sort of a journey out of debt update video. I haven't done one in a while because I think maybe I'll be, because of all the extra hours I put in, finally at that point where I'll be getting a sizable enough paycheck that I can finally make the kinds of payments that I've been wanting to make, so I can see the sort of the counter go down that much more. And not that I would find that it would be worthy of discussion. That'd be sort of like a milestone, but anyways, like 2 more turns and I'll be in the parking lot. So I'm gonna finish up recording now. Like I said, it's day 141 of Nofap, Monday the 8th of March 2021, and I'll see you folks around. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.